Here we go. So 100 ml of warm water, a teaspoon of sugar. What we're building is a kind of nutrient broth for yeast, dried yeast, which we're going to activate. So we're activating this easy bake yeast, we're keeping the fridge for a long time. Teaspoon of that into the 100 ml of sugared water, and we're going to stir that in and then leave it for 15 minutes to activate. While we're waiting for that to activate, we are going to prepare our dry ingredients. We're going to have 500 grams of organic flour. If you're going to make your own bread, you may as well make it organic, since it's really hard to get organic bread. Or, well, you just go and buy it, but it's quite hard to find. 90% of the bread is not organic. You don't have to use white flour. You have to use strong flour, though, if you want to make good bread. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of salt, so the bread tastes better. I'm using Himalayan salt, you can use whatever you like. Now adding 25 grams of organic rapeseed oil. You can use other oils, whatever you like. This is going to make the dough easier to work with. It's going to add flavour to the bread. It's going to be nice. Now add whatever other ingredients you want. I like to add organic sesame seeds. You can add whatever seeds you want at this stage. Now add in the activated yeast. Wasn't that quick? 15 minutes have gone by. The yeast is now alive. So we're going to add in that 100 ml of water and yeast. We of course need to add in the rest of the water, so we've got another 200 ml here. So add that in. Fantastic. We're going to add in a total of around 315, I would say. Start to knead that in. If it turns out that it is too dry, look at that, looks too dry, add in a little bit more water. Be very careful about how much you add in, otherwise it might end up too wet, sticky like that. Don't worry about it. You can add in some flour to make it less sticky. Eventually it's going to be perfect and you're going to know it's not going to stick to your hands. It's going to be fantastic. So after you've done that, you want to knead it for 15 minutes. Take it somewhere where you're not going to get bored. Give it a good pounding. It'll look like this. It'll be fantastic. Once you've done that, put it back in the bowl, cover it and leave it for around 3 hours or until it's doubled in size, somewhere nice and warm. Look at this. After 3 hours, it's doubled in size. We're now going to knock it back. So knocking it back is taking the air out of it again, and you could do this a couple of times. So leave it to rise, knock it back. We're going to stop here and we're going to put it into its final containers. I'm putting it straight into, at this point, into these bread tins, these bread loaves, silicone based. So they're going to rise in there. Now what I quite often do is put it in the oven to rise. Like the oven is off, but just leave it overnight in the oven because it's a nice place. Otherwise just leave it on the side until it has risen. Now shove it in the oven. If you'd left it overnight, you could then cook it in the morning, right? But once it's risen, shove it in the oven, 200 degrees, gas mark 6 for around 30 minutes. You'll know when it's done because it will have a kind of nice hollow sound and it'll be all nice and brown and cooked throughout. Bit of experimentation there with your oven to find out what works. In any case, once it's done, take it out, leave it to cool on a rack. Now, there it is, all done. Fantastic. So the only thing left here really is to butter a piece and try it. So I'll leave you with me.
Let's give it a go. Delicious. That is it.